This is the most important YouTube video that I've made in the last year for business owners. We're in a global economic downturn. We're definitely in recession, and I believe the recession's going to get deeper. Now, recessions last around 15 months on average. That's what the last 4 have done. So in this video, I wanted to give my top tips to how you can survive this recession if you're a business owner and possibly thrive in it. Really difficult economic backdrop. We've got rising interest rates. We've got banks reining in lending. I'm already starting to see that happen. I mean, that huge interest rate rise really bad when you couple together a weak pound. We've got one of the weakest global currencies at the moment, so importing all of the stuff that you can see around me is getting more expensive for me to do. But then you've got cost of living crisis, and coupled together with that, we've got a political crisis as well. Not that I do politics on the channel, but we haven't even got a prime minister now. We've barely got a cabinet. We haven't even hardly got a chance of the exchequer. Put that all together and you've got a big mess that business owners need to now try and navigate through. So I'm going to give you my top tips of how I'm preparing my business to survive this and hopefully thrive from this so that you can do the same in your business. I want you to swipe and deploy these ideas. Let's get into it. I wanted to make this in our warehouse because this is part of the problem we've got at the moment. This is just one of our containers that have arrived from the Far East. Paid for it in February. It's now July, we've only just got it. We won't turn that cash back into cash for another couple of months because we've got to give people credit and sell the stock through. So that cash has been tied up for 10 months. Now, pre-pandemic, that cash would be tied up for 100 days. That's causing business owners and businesses bottlenecking cash problems. So they've got more cash out to suppliers. They're not turning cash back into cash quick enough. Really dangerous. What do you got to do? Look at your business right now. You've got to go and get cash in the bank, get it secured. If you've got plans to grow your business, don't wait for 6 months, 9 months. Get all those loans and funding agreed now. Get it in the bank. Fix your interest rates. That's my advice for as long as possible now. I just believe interest rates are going to go up. And if they don't, if I'm wrong, I've been wrong on this before, at least you know what you're going to be paying. Don't wait until it gets really serious. It's better to do it from a position of strength getting funding than a position of weakness. You've got to focus more on marketing. This is one of the top things that how I've always got through all of the economic downturns that I've had in my 20 years in businesses. If you are focusing on getting and keeping customers as your primary goal, you will get and keep customers. The world hasn't run out of money. There's still plenty of money. In fact, at the moment, I was reading the other day that there's £200 billion worth of cash in consumer bank accounts. So people are hoarding cash because they're worried about the cost of living crisis. Now, your job as a business, whether it's B2B or B2C, is to convince people to trade. So you might have to do offers more than you've ever done offers before. I don't believe in discounting, but I do think offers are good. That could be offering guarantees, offering extended service plans. Value-added offers are a really good way of getting people to part with cash and getting sales into your business. Is a top way the recessions, how businesses get through recessions. And don't forget those industries that do really well, cosmetics and confectionery. There are still businesses that thrive through recessions. Cadbury's had their best ever trading in 2008. It was their best record year because people were buying chocolates because they still want to feel good about themselves. They'll still do days out, but they will cut back on other stuff. So you want to make sure that you're in a position of strength and that you're marketing, that you're still in business. The businesses that market the most always do well. Focus on building personal brand and content that will continually work for you, like the stuff I do on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to focus on my 3 KPI rule. This is making sure you're tracking a monthly profit and loss so you know what's happening monthly in your business. Do not be the stupid business that only relies on an annual set of accounts or run the business by what's in the bank account. No, you must focus it on a profit and loss. You know, running the business by what cash you've got in the bank and an annual set of accounts is the fastest way to just go from hero to zero, in my opinion. Monthly profit and loss, super important, and a cash flow. You must be tracking your labor to turnover ratio. Now, most businesses' biggest cost walks on 2 legs, so you've got to be controlling your teams and making sure they're lean and mean. You want to have a percentage aim for what your labor is compared to your turnover. So in my business in childcare, we're looking for 50% of our turnover to be going on labor in our nurseries. Now, if that hits 60%, what are we doing about that? How are we going to rein that back in? You know, in retail, it might be 13 to 15%. How could you get it down a percentage point without compromising on service? In leisure, it might be 25 to 30%. These things need to be tracked every single day for an economic downturn to protect cash in the business. We've got to start looking at cutting fat. So you want to be doing the process of signing every invoice off if you're a bigger business. Yeah, it's time consuming, but you'll see that there's waste of money. I've noticed today that we're overspending £3,000 on a piece of software that we don't really need anymore. We could amalgamate it into another piece of software. And that £3,000 cost, I always times it by 10 as a real cost to the business. And this is a really good rule. If something costs you £1,000, you need to bring in £10,000 worth of revenue to pay that £1,000 out. So that piece of software is costing us £3,000, but actually I need to turn £30,000 to pay the £3,000. And that really channels the mind into thinking about being lean and mean. When it comes to your team members, I'm afraid people have got to do more with less. That's how you get through an economic downturn. You might be investing in R&D, you might be investing in innovation, all those things are great, but you might need to get those people that are doing R&D and innovation to doing more turnover tasks as well. They might have to do some more customer service stuff. Everyone's got to work harder to get through. They last around 15 months, and if you want to be the ones that get through it, then you will, survive in a big way, because the best businesses come out of recessions. If you can get through a recession, then you're going to sail through an economic high. More millionaires and billionaires are made in economic downturns than high times. So make sure you have that in your mindset. We're going to get through this. We're going to be lean, we're going to be mean, and we're going to be super efficient. And you've got to make your team as effective as possible. An effective team is how you get through this. It's really important that your team understand the challenges that the business are facing. I share profit and loss with all of my team members if they ask for it. And then my senior team members are constantly told about the challenges we're facing, how much things are costing, what cash we need to bring in to survive and thrive. You want to be sharing that stuff in as much detail as possible so that people can go on with your vision of surviving, so that people feel confident that they understand that the business challenges are facing, and then they're more likely to help. My big belief on human beings is when you put your hand up and say, I need help, help comes most of the time. So it's really important that you focus on that. Now, I want to, before we go any further on in this video, tell you that actually some businesses thrive, and you might not be in one of those thriving businesses, but you could add on a multiple revenue stream that could help you get through. So when I was in my early businesses and I had just leisure businesses, I added on childcare, because actually childcare does really well in a recession, because maybe dad's just working and now mum needs to work to bring in more cash into the family to help pay the bills. That happened in 2008, 2009 for me, and I saw our childcare business grow. So healthcare and childcare can actually really grow. You might think, oh my God, that's more cost for people, but actually if they need to go to work, they need people to look after their kids. I've also made some notes here that I just think you should think about. Groceries do really well. Food shops, people spend more in supermarkets than going out to restaurants, for example. Healthcare, like I just said, candy, ice cream, chocolate. I've got an ice cream company. I'm expecting that to do well through the recession. Financial advisors and accountants do really well. Cybersecurity and tech support, all of that helps people. Rather than buying new technology, they're investing in repairing technology. This recession is different to the last one and the last one before that. The last one was all about credit crunching, banks not having enough cash to lend out. Banks are really well capitalized, but they are going to be more careful about how they lend money. What we now have is inflation, stagflation, a weak pound in this country, which means buying all this stuff that you see behind me has just become more expensive. You've got a political backdrop that is really uncertain, and uncertain political backdrops really cause problems. I hate that. But there are opportunities. There's going to be so many people that come out of the next 15 months in such a spectacular way. If you get through it, you're through it. And you'll be even stronger when the highs come along. Remember, some industries do really well. Remember the Cadbury's thing I told you. People want to feel good in a recession, and they'll find pockets of money to treat themselves. Businesses still want to invest, and there'll be people growing like mad. I'm planning to grow through this recession. Think about how you can add on multiple revenue streams to your business. Can you add a consultancy arm onto it to bring in more revenue to talk about your expertise in whatever industry you're in? Find those opportunities. Fix your cash. If you've got loans, rather than having variable rates, why don't you pay the fee and fix it so that you know that your repayments are going to be the same for the next 10 years. I've just done my personal mortgage on my house. I fixed it for 10 years. I do think interest rates will go down in 5 years' time compared to what they are now. But I just want that certainty so that I can run my business. It's going to be a bit bumpy, but there are going to be huge opportunities. See you in the next video.